dog for a walk in the park. Early in the morning, right there, as the sun is rising and the long shadows are being cast along the walking path, and the dog is just as happy. Oh man, dogs just love to go out for a walk. They just love it, and they know when it's time. They see you getting the leash. They see you putting on your coat. I think they like going for a walk more than they like food. They just get so excited when they know it's time to go for a walk. So let's go for a walk in the park and paint that image. So it's from an art point of view, the study is with greens and yellows, and they use Payne's gray for the darker colors and some raw umber. And the shadows, often people ask about what color do I use for the shadows, and it depends really. So in this case, I think I was using a washed out burnt sienna, or maybe a darkened, not washed out, but darkened burnt sienna, and a little bit of raw umber. It's never the same for me. It's whatever works. That's what I use. Whatever works. Whether we're talking about brushes or paint, whatever works, that's what I use. So in the course of doing a painting, I'm constantly testing a brush, testing a paint color, testing a mix, and then deciding on one or the other. And then I go back and change it too if I don't like the way it looks. But so there's the art talk, the shop talk for this video. But otherwise, let's have some. This is a pretty easy one. Start with a light background and then add the darker silhouetted trees and the silhouetted man and his dog. And don't forget the shadows. And don't forget to say, good boy, good girl. Let's go for a walk in the park right now. Good morning. Let's take the dog for a walk. Oh man, it's been a long time since I've had a dog. I am a dog lover, I will admit. I have loved having a dog in my past. I really have. I wonder sometimes if I could handle a dog now. I probably could handle it, but I outlive it. That's the problem. That's the part. Getting old is, you love a dog. So I'm not really upset about that. I love other people's dogs, but there's nothing like your own dog, because your own dog will greet you when you come home, and it's just a nice thing to have a dog. So when you get old, you know what you do? You put up a bird bath in the backyard. Put up a bird bath, and that bird bath becomes your place for animals, because the bird bath attracts, of course, birds. So you can sit out there on the porch. This is what I do. I'm telling you what I do now. You sit out there on the porch and you watch the birds. And guess what else? The squirrels. And every once in a while, I don't want to creep you out, but every once in a while a snake. Yes, a snake comes around and drinks from the bird bath. Yes. It's very cool, actually. I love seeing the snakes. I don't like seeing a snake like when I'm walking in the woods or in the state park, whatever. I don't like really seeing a snake. Well, here's why. Because, some of them are poisonous. You could have a poisonous snake here too, in my own yard, but mostly the snakes around here are not poison, well, not venomous. They say poisonous and venomous is two different things. So I'll say venomous, so I don't get it wrong. But yeah, it's a part of living in Florida is you have snakes. You know, everybody's worried about the alligators, right? But you do have alligators if you live near the water. Yeah, my nephew had a house right on the water, and he had one of those houses that had space underneath it, you know, and he had a snake underneath the house, and he had to get it out of there, of course. You can't have a snake under the house, especially with dogs. Did I say snake? I mean an alligator. He had an alligator under the house. So you gotta be really careful. The one thing about living around here, though, is, okay, I know I went from owning a dog to now worrying about alligators. There are places around here, really cool places where you can go and see the alligators. There's so many places. There's a place near the University of Florida where the alligators are. It's called, I think it's called Lake Warburg. And when I say a place where the alligators are, the truth is they're everywhere. You know, they really are. So it's not as if there's only a few places. But in Lake Warburg, there's so many of them. So if you have it in your mind that you want to show, let's say I wanted to show somebody alligators, I would take them to Lake Warburg. Where else would I take? I saw an alligator the other day in Silver Springs State Park, just sitting there, just enjoying the sunshine. So that was kind of cool. That was very cool. Let's see what I want to do here. I have this. Oh, by the way, today I'm using Watercolor. And I'm using this brand here. I used the same one yesterday. My Lang. Yeah, I like these watercolors. They were a gift. Thank you so much. And you have the swatch here. These colors here. And in fact, I see a color I'm going to use right there. Put a little bit of green over here. Put a little green on your paper. Put a little green on there. It's not easy being green. Somewhere that's green. Suddenly see more. Do you remember the Little Shop of Horrors? Let's see if we can get this a little bit of orange here. A bit of orange glow. All right, let's see what we want to do here. A little dark. Let's put some. A little bit of dark brown right here on the edge here. Just kind of define the edge of the walkway here. Do you hear the birds outside? Yeah, so when you don't have a pet, so in my lifetime I've had cats and dogs, and I've loved them both. The saddest thing is when they die. Oh my gosh, I cried so much when my dogs died, my cats died. Oh my gosh, it's so It's so hard to take. That's another thing. I don't know that I want to put myself through that again. See, I'm thinking I'm going to outlive any pet I might get at this age, but not necessarily. And that's even worse, I guess. It's worse for me. But like I say, I have my bird bath. And the bird bath is amazing because it attracts the animals, like I just told you. And I do like sitting out there watching them come by and enjoying the water. Isn't it incredible how animals can find what they need? Water and food. Just think about that. There's enough out there for all of them. God takes care of every one of them. I know you can argue with me on that. You can say, well, how come some animals are found dead in the desert? Yeah, I don't know. I will admit to you, I don't have the answers to anything, really. I don't have the answers. Okay, I'm just going to try to dab this in here, then I'm probably going to switch over to the gouache. Let this dry and put some gouache on there. Maybe I can add a little bit more darkness up here. So to create some of this shade I'm using, I'm dipping my brush into the black and into the green, kind of putting both colors on the brush at the same time. And now I'm dipping it into the yellow to try to create a little bit of a distant look here. Yeah, that looks kind of cool. That looks kind of cool. So yes, we're going to walk the dog today. Take the dog for a walk. Dogs love going for walks, don't they? So in my church there's a gentleman and his wife, and they train dogs to become service dogs. And they don't own them, but they have the dogs in their possession or at their homes. I don't know how to say that. They have the dogs in their homes. And then eventually they have to say goodbye to the dog. Oh my gosh, I don't know that I could do that. I mean, once you fall in love with a dog, once you fall in love with anybody, anything, once you fall in love, you don't want to let go. There's a line for you. Any songwriters out there got a song prompt. Once you fall in love, you don't want to let go. That's a cool idea for a song, isn't it? I guess. I don't write songs very much anymore, very rarely. I write songs here and there. But I wrote so many songs when I was younger. Just like I do so many pictures now. So many paintings. It's Thursday, by the way. Thursday morning at 7:21. I got started a little bit later than I like to start. A little bit more green on here, dark green. So far, it's all watercolor. Alright, I think that's all I'm going to do with the watercolor. Now, I'm going to close it up and I'm going to let it dry. So I'm going to turn the camera off so you don't have to be sitting here watching paint dry, and I'll be right back. Okay, it's dry now. And just so you know, I did use a dryer. It's a hot air tool, but it's very hot. It's hotter than a hair dryer. I think a hair dryer would be better because this could actually get so hot that it could actually burn the paper. Right, so now we're going to use gouache. Let's see, we're going to use white, and we're going to use some of this orange color, and we're going to use some of this yellow. I'm going to use some of this Payne's gray, and maybe here's a different shade of orange, maybe a pale green. Yeah, I think that'll come out good. What's that called? Yellow green. Yeah, that's what I want. Well, let's get a little bit of raw umber in there too, if I can find it. Let's see. There's another shade of yellow. Looking for the raw umber. Is that it? Olive green. Oh, that might come in handy. See. Looking for that raw umber, or whatever it's called, the brown. Well, burnt sienna might come in handy. Let's see. I don't know what I did with it. Oh well, I don't necessarily need it really. But alright, let's use some of these colors. Let me start out with the Payne's gray. And a little bit of this yellow green. And some of this yellow, mid-yellow, kind of a yellow. And I'll use some of that bright yellow also, just to get it on there. You never know. That comes in handy a lot. That and white. White comes in handy also. And so let's put some white on there. I'm gonna put 2 dabs of white. Alright, let me use some of this orangish tone. A little bit orangey. And some of this olive green. Looks like a dark green. Looks like it'll come in handy. Whoa. A little bit too much. And then some burnt sienna. finally, this other shade of yellow ochre. Yeah, yellow ochre. Yellow ochre and burnt sienna always seem to work nice together. Alright, now let's get a brush we can do some dabbing with. That's a little bit too soft. One of these harder brushes. Let's make sure the camera stays focused. I think I have a bad habit of messing up with the camera. Alright, let's try some of this dark green. Let's see if it works. No, it's too green, see? I'm going to have to mix it with some Payne's gray. Let's get this Payne's gray in this. Let's get these leaves here. These are the leaves, you probably knew that from the opening photo that I didn't even take yet, but I will take it in a little bit. Yeah. Go ahead and add a little bit of yellow to it. Just kind of make it darker toward the top and then lighter as it gets to the bottom of these tree leaves. So are you guys trying to enter a contest of some sort? Some couple of people wrote me about contests. So let me talk about that a little bit. I don't do contests anymore. When I was younger, I did. The thing about contests is you got to be careful with the rules. So let's talk about that a little bit. The rules of contests sometimes annoy me, to be honest with you. Sometimes they do. Because the rules are sometimes so prohibitive, but then again, they have their reasons for it. So if it's a watercolor contest, you don't want to do what I'm doing right now, which is adding gouache to it. Because a watercolor competition is usually strict about, the rules are usually strict, about having only watercolor on the painting. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to use gouache with your watercolor, it's going to be disqualified. You don't want that. Oh, that would be so disappointing if you entered a really great painting, but it got disqualified because you had used gouache with your watercolor. Now, with that said, some contests do allow mixed media like that. Some contests don't consider gouache and watercolor as mixed media. Some contests, for some reason, they say, well, gouache is watercolor. Okay. So I'm just telling you that some of them they have really strict rules on a lot of them. So just so you know that. Okay. get some really tiny, I gotta get a small brush for this. A really tiny brush. That's not the one. I have one brush that I like to use for really tiny things. I should always pull it up before I start because I always go looking for it. There it is, real tiny brush. You see it? Okay, what I want to do with that, I want to put some very tiny little, like tree trunks in the distance. You can just see them a little bit. Probably should wash them out a little bit more. Yeah, let me wash them out a little bit more. Okay, add some white to that. Yeah, I just wanted that look of those distant trees. Those distant trees in there. There we go. See, those look like they're way in the distance. The sun is hitting down and they've got shadows of their own. Alright, let's get back to the other brush we had. And get some of this. Alright, let's add some of those trees in here now. We get another one of those stiff brushes. Nope, how about this one? Just smudge that out a little bit. There we go. Alright, let's get some of these here. Put a tree right here. I have trees growing and you always never know how a tree looks. It's almost like you can do anything and it still will look like a tree. Put a few branches here, a few branches there, and voila, you have a tree. Voila. One of my French words. I know that word. How do you define voila? Another one right here. Can't have just one tree in the park. This is a park. Here's some of this burnt umber here. Okay, let's get some of these trees now. Let's take this, lighten it a little bit. I think we need a smaller brush for some of these other trees. There's a little one. Nice little brush right there. Get some of this orange here. Let's see what's some of that. little bit on the side there. Here we go. Put some trees on the other side of the road too, over here. Alright, now let's get some lines on there to make it look like there's light. Got light hitting them. Let's get again another stiff brush. There we go. Get some of those. A little bit of light on the side of those trees. There we go. Now we still have to put the man and his dog in there. Still gotta do that. Save that for last. Alright, let's get some of this yellow and green here. Some of these leaves here. Here we go. Okay. Now we got to put the man and his dog in there. All right, now. Which brush do you think would work best for that? Let's see. That might be too big. How about this one? That's too soft. How about this one? That might be just right. Just right for the man and his dog. All right, well, here we go. Just hope I don't mess it up too much. I might need a different brush. This one isn't as accurate as I want. There, a little bit of that. I get a smaller brush for the dog, or a brush with a stiffer point, I think, is what I need. That one might work. Just a tiny brush. Now let's get some shadow in there. Let's add a little bit of highlight to him. A little bit of light on the sides of his head. Okay. Alright, I think we have our man walking his dog in the park. There we go. Walking the dog in the park. Alright, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.